Social protection refers to actions, policies, legislative measures, and services that provide safety nets for the poor and vulnerable in society. Social protection may be in the form of cash transfers, child support, family and household allowances, skills training, job creation, and other initiatives targeting the poor and marginalized. With a population of just over 105,000, St. Vincent and the Grenadines has an overall poverty rate of 49.5%. Children ages 0 to 17 represent over one-third of the total population, 33.7%, yet account for 48.2% of the poor in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In response to concerns about poverty, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has implemented social protection reform to restructure its social safety net programs and improve the targeting of services. This new approach reorients the country's existing social protection framework to strengthen and expand support to the poorest and most vulnerable. Minister of Social Development, Honorable Frederick Stevenson, outlined some of the government's strategic priorities.
To assist in poverty reduction through the social protection landscape, to provide access to job opportunities resulting in reduced levels of unemployment, to assist in improving the living conditions of all sections of the population, to facilitate the protection and inclusion of vulnerable and marginalized groups, to strengthen and modernize the social protection and human development systems here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Here is what some of the beneficiaries of social protection programs in St. Vincent and the Grenadines had to say.
If then for the help, I don't know how to make it because I've been a single parent all my life.
It helped me a lot because sometimes I take a little from it, make up to pay my light bill, take a little from it, from our water bill, and instead help me with nice stuff like buying some of my stuff too. Do my sugar cake and fudge and where from.
Doing some basics at the Kingston Institute to better myself. The assistants have helped me a lot, especially with my transportation to come to school, to get food. Even if I want a shirt, I could buy it off it.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines spent up to 12.4% of recurrent expenditure on social protection programs annually.
In terms of the estimates for 2019, including salaries and emoluments and what we pay to our elderly, the public assistance, over $27.2 million. That's the total budget for the social protection sector in this ministry alone, but also in other ministries and in other departments. There are also some social protection programs that amounts to $101.4 million for social protection here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and that is the estimate for 2019. That is about close to 10% of the total expenditure.
As part of the reform process, the government is reviewing its cash payment system.
The whole system is to be reformed so that we move away from all the cash that we have and that we can get plastic or some other different form of payment. We accept that it can't all happen at one time, and we might have to hold on to some cash, especially for those individuals who are real elderly and stuff like that. But it would significantly reduce the amount of cash that people put their hands on and make us safe.
Director of Social Development, Marissa Burke, says despite significant investment in social programs, the country has been struggling to cope with the needs of its poor and vulnerable.
When it comes to finances, the demand for the service is greater than the cash flow. So approximately we service $17.495 million per year to approximately 9,756 minimum persons to approximately a maximum of 11,636 people, and they are coming from approximately 7,500 homes. So as a result, the cash flow, if we want to be more sustainable, it means that we ought to be having more fixed packages for our families on a more long-term basis.
Mrs. Burke also emphasized the need for legislative reform.
We have to adjust or amend or repeal the existing Public Assistance Act, because in existence, the Act has some archaic measures within it that only identifies the poor relief component. And over a period of time where the demand for the services would have increased over the past decade or two, we recognize that there is need now to adjust the services to match the demands of the populace. Then we have to build a case for the regulations to support the adjusted legislation, so that it does not represent a Public Assistance Act, but a Social Protection Act.
The need to help persons transition from welfare to self-sustaining activities is one of the fundamental lessons of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines social protection process.
This business of welfareism has got to stop. I am not saying that there are persons who would need clothes and there are persons that would need food. But we have to be able to build these individuals' capacities. Too many young people on what people refer to as the welfare program. We need to build their capacity and their self-esteem, and help them to look for employment.
For persons within that bracket that is below the poverty line, those persons who are poverty-stricken, they do need that financial assistance from time to time. They need to also be empowered so that when they do get the assistance, they don't repeat, to come back and get the assistance, but they need to be empowered to know that they can now help themselves.
So what are some of the lessons other OECS member states can learn from the journey of social protection reform in St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
There is a lot of work being done, but as far as we're concerned, I think it needs to be more streamlined, and so that it has a greater impact. And record keeping is critical. Statistical data is critical. More qualitative, quantitative, qualitative data collection done.
We should be able to increase the level of engagement at the community level. So if we restructure our engagement methodology, we can be able to develop with our communities the appropriate development plans for the community, by the community, and of the community. And when people recognize that they are a key development partner in the process, then the buy-in will be higher.
People would be screened differently. We would try to avoid a lot of duplication, because at the moment it happens. We have individuals who are signed up and who know every loophole in the system and how they can get onto everything that is there. But when we do this, when we have the reforms and so forth, that would be minimized.
One of the shortcomings in the OECS and here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is legal drafters to assist with putting the legislations in place. So we can't wait for a law to come in place to deal with standards and other stuff that we want to do in relation to our social protection programs.